Hey, everyone, and welcome again to the next episode of Outcomes. I'm your host, Barrett King. With me today is Philip. He is the CEO of GetProven, which we're going to get into what that is here in a few minutes. But first and foremost, my friend, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. Great to be here. It's only 6:30 in the morning, so I'm up bright and early.
You're a nut job. I love it. And that's called commitment. I think in partnerships, we are all a little bit maybe perhaps unhinged in that sense. We like to get up and get after the day. Let's first talk about what partnerships means to you. I'd love to kick off the show with that. And it's important to kind of give us a foundation to work from. So let me ask the question outright then. What does partnerships mean to you, Phil?
So I think it's about giving more than you get. I'm a big fan of adding value. And, what I say to all of the partners that we work with is, we don't charge, a penny to them. We say, look, let us see how much value we can add to you. Let us see how many introductions we can make for you. Let's see how many deals we can get for you. In return, maybe refers in the future. So it's not like we're looking for this, give us X and we'll get Y. But it really is about adding value, and there's so much that we can do. We can help with introductions. We can help with getting their name across the board. But I've always been a big believer in that, in helping out as much as we can. And look, in the future, it may come back and be nice for us. But it is about how much value can I add to other people and make their lives a bit easier.
Yeah, it's people first. I totally agree with you. It's a good call out. And so let's talk about what you do, because you're in a very interesting niche. It's why I wanted to have you on the show, specifically that you are sitting between VC and tech partners. And obviously that's a very kind of fast moving and certainly developing space. So give us a 30,000 foot view of what you do every day.
So essentially, think of us like a trip advisor for a portfolio company in a VC firm. A portfolio company that has received some funding from a VC firm has a lot of decisions to make. If they've been on TechCrunch, if they've announced their funding round, they are getting a ton of inbound requests from every company under the sun saying, hey, I just saw you raised a round. Here's our product or service. So essentially what we do is we have a platform that we sell to VC firms and private equity firms, and they use that to recommend the highest quality partners, suppliers, vendors, service providers for that portfolio. So they don't waste time on choosing the wrong partner to work with. And the VC firm says, look, here's 3 of our best partners. And also here's some huge deals and discounts on these tools that you need to grow your business. Focus on the tough stuff, which is hiring getting new customers, getting your product right. And, the simple stuff, which is maybe choosing the right CRM, let the proven platform do that for you.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm a VC myself in Stage 2 Capital's Catalyst Fund. And a lot of what, in my experience, they've done really well is to look at it from both the technology and a people and sort of systems architecture perspective, and then layer in their expertise around go-to-market. So what you're describing is this interesting intersection of how you can bring together the partner community that it sounds like you curate in part. Is that accurate? Like, are you actually then curating these opportunities, relationships, these types of vendors to then bring to the VC firm that they can deliver to their portfolio? How does that come about?
Yeah, so usually they'll have a list that they know themselves. Like they have a Rolodex of vendors or partners that they like, that they know, that they trust.
Okay.
And they'll say to us, hey, Phil, do you have a deal from a company? And we'll say, look, we have this company, we have this other company as well, and we can bring those to the table. Essentially, we're a blank slate. We can have any partner that they want on there. We do have a large kind of database of standard companies that we say, these are good companies, we know them, we work with them. Other VCs trust them. And so that's kind of how it works. It's a mix between us recommending some companies, but mostly it's they know the companies that they want to put on the platform themselves.
Interesting. And the platform is giving them a way to obviously go to market more effectively. So in your experience then, if you're somebody who's a VC, or you're certainly an early stage company that's engaged with the VC, what are some of the guidance and perhaps feedback points you can share around how to facilitate those, the relationships, right? Whether it's with or without a platform, it sounds like you have a great experience and exposure to the intersection of partnership and VC, which obviously are 2 very powerful machines. Selfishly, having exposure to both myself, I know with the right VC, you can get access to not just go-to-market professionals, but those with network experience, exposure. They can certainly help drive your business forward. And then you bring in partnership where you get leverage against that go-to-market experience, exposure, all the things I just described there. So I'm curious, what are some of the early observations you've had in how folks do it well, and certainly perhaps how they mess it up?
Mm-hmm. Sure, yeah. So when it comes to let's say if you're a partner and you're trying to work with VCs, like what I always say to people is this is not like a magic bullet where you're going to get in and you're going to land 100 deals tomorrow. If you land the right VC, it really is about a partnership. It really is about getting to know that person. Like having your company on our platform is a good thing, but it's not the end of the game. You have to really build a relationship with that person that is kind of curating those relationships on the VC side. And for us, that means, you get your, let's say, your offer, your deal on the platform. Number two then is you've got to start reaching out to the person we call the head of platform inside the VC firm. That person is a real connector. That person knows everyone inside the VC firm. They know all the portfolio companies. But what I always say is, look, go out, have a cup of coffee with that person, have lunch with that person, get to know that person. Because there are tons and tons of partners out there that just expect, hey, my company's in the database. Why aren't I being used? Why aren't people reaching out to me? Whatnot. And it really is a relationship game. Like, this, Barrett, like you can't just expect business to flow into you without building those personal connections, those relationships. So you really have to invest time in getting to know the person, reaching out to them, having the meetings, the same things that we've done in the past 20 years. Again, it's a tool that it's great to have. It's a really good platform, makes things a lot easier, but you still need to build the relationships.
Yeah. And so in that context, then what I'm curious about, at least what I'm picturing in my head, is the fact that VC tends to be certainly a bit focused, right? So if I'm a tech vendor and I'm trying to go and gain exposure and certainly gain market share in that sense, the benefit then of VC, I'm going to make an assumption here, you can call me on it if I'm wrong, but the benefit being that they're going to be really targeted in terms of product market fit for my solution as it is, applicable to their portfolio. Because obviously they're trying to maximize their own returns against whatever they've invested and how, time, money, whatever. Is there anything on top of that as a partner? Because I'm picturing, like, if I'm the listener right now, right, and I'm whoever my role is, CEO, head of partnerships, whatever, at a tech vendor, I don't know how many folks, maybe all, I may be wrong here, but I feel like this might be an interesting new avenue for some people that are listening to think about going and approaching, smaller to mid-sized VCs. I'd probably skip maybe Andreessen and Tiger and such. They're perhaps a little bit too big right now. But early on, if you're an up-and-coming firm, engaging in this avenue is a nice channel for go-to-market and a good opportunity to expand, certainly your reach, and I think test things in some regard. So what are some of the best practices that you would suggest then to that tech vendor when they approach a VC? Are there things you've experienced or, certainly observed that they could bring and adopt to make that a more fruitful relationship?
Yeah, for sure. So I think knowing your target, like, we work with the largest VC. You mentioned that recently. We work with those guys. We work with tiny VCs as well. And the thing is that, these VCs are investing in these companies because they think they might have the next unicorn in their hands. And if you're a tech vendor and you think, hey, I could get my company into the next Airbnb or the next Stripe or the next Intercom, then it's a really good opportunity for you. That account might grow and grow and grow. So it's really about, looking at the portfolio that VC has, going through what the needs of those portfolios are, and not saying to the VC head of platform, hey, we want to offer our solution to all of your portfolio companies. If you go to them and you say, hey, I have identified two companies, company X and company Y, that are in your portfolio. I know they're having this problem. I've researched what they're using today. It's not working. Can you make an intro to the CEO for me? That approach will work because you're essentially taking work off the hands of the head of platform. The head of platform's job is twofold. Number one is to save money for portfolio companies. Number two, it's to make them more efficient. Make them more efficient also means introducing them to other partners that they might want to use. So if I go in and say, hey, John Smith, head of platform, here's my product, I'm giving 10% off. Isn't it great? They were like, well, join the queue of other partners that are trying to get my attention. Yeah, you and everybody else. Yeah. But if I'm saying, I see your company is struggling with these problems. I've called their customer support team. They're telling me that they're struggling with this. Here's some really actionable things that we can do for your portfolio company that's going to make your investment better. That's going to get a response. And so it takes that level of work. So if you can do that and say, by the way, we also have a great discount, then it makes that person's job a ton easier.
Yeah, it's a bonus.